Hello again. Let's now look at how to set up visual effects from the asset. Fairy all-in-one. Let's start with the wings, since we have already applied them to the character in the previous tutorial. So we find the necessary Niagara file and open it. Each wing consists of 3 parts: base, membrane, and pattern. Also in the design itself there are additional effects, such as the central mount, particles, and there may be other additional parts. In order to safely change the settings, I personally recommend not to touch anything except the color, swing speed, and twitch effect, because if you are not familiar enough with the settings of the Niagara emitters, you can damage the work or the correct functioning of the effect. If you have any need for additional settings but you do not know how to do this, you can write in the appropriate section and I will be happy to provide you with information support. And so we change the colors. First, we will change the color on the wing base, then on the membrane, and finally on the pattern. But we will do it only on one wing so that the difference in what we are doing is noticeable. Next, we will change or enhance the colors of additional effects. In general, you can even turn them off if you don't need them. And then the effect will load your PC even less. Save and see what we got. Now let's change the right wing a little for greater clarity. As you can see, the brightness of one of the wings is very different. Now let's change the flapping, speed, and twitching of the wing. In the case of the flapping speed, if we want to lower it, we need to increase the period and decrease the frequency. If you need to get the opposite effect, then you need to do the opposite. The situation is a little different with the twitching effect. To create more frequency, you need to lower the first parameter and increase the second. Do not forget that the amplitude in the left and right wings should be different. In any one, it is greater than 0, and in the right, it is less. Next, let's just change the wings and look at a slightly different design. Although almost all wings consist of 3 parts, the fire ones consist of 1, but they have an additional part, the crown. Again, we'll just change the colors a little for greater clarity. So now we have pretty bright wings with which it will be quite difficult to get lost in the dark. And let's start to understand the settings of additional effects. The first thing you need to remember, it is not advisable to replace them as we just did with the wings. On the contrary, they do not need to be attached to any bone. And if you want to use the effects separately without wings, then you better just delete the old setting and just drag the additional effect onto your character. In general, the effects have a fairly similar structure. And as before, I do not recommend changing other settings yourself except for color and quantity, since if you do not know what the parameter is responsible for, you can damage the entire structure. In effects that consist of one color, I try to use a common parameter, but if you want to make different colors for different parts of the structure, then you just need to remove the custom parameter and set the color to your taste. The screen shows how easy it is to do. You can also either add or reduce the number of particles used. After changing all the colors, the effect looks good. But as you can see, the light that the particles give is different. This happens because the flashlights are configured separately from the particles, and I will show you how to easily fix this. That's all. If you still have questions, I will be happy to answer them on the X social network or in the corresponding section in the store.